Hey everybody, how's it going? Turtle here. It's been a while and I wanted to make another video to catch up on the best practices for Company Heroes 3 right now and what you should be doing in multiplayer. This is like a collection of things I've noticed from playing with randoms or with my friends or just what I've seen people doing or not doing. I thought I'd make a quick video. It's, very similar to the tips and tricks video, just to typical things you should be doing in a match if you want to win. This isn't an exact guide on how to win every match and become the #1 player. It's just some things that if you're not doing, they might help. And again, this is really based off my preference, my play style. So you may play completely different than me. A lot of the stuff may not work for you. That's totally fine. So if you guys are watching this and you notice anything that I do differently or anything that you do differently, let me know in the comments. I'm always open to suggestions, and this is a game that's, there's rarely a set right or wrong answer. There's many ways to handle these problems, but I wanted to start off with some easy tips that I see a lot of people not doing. That's when you're starting in the game, the first building that you build, try to build it as far out as you can, kind of, around here-ish, so that as your units are leaving base after they retreat, they're down to maybe one model, they're recruiting the whole time they're in this zone. So I think it'll show once it's built, the zone.
Like shit through a goose. Move. Section command's done.
Maybe it doesn't. But it's something like, I think, 40 meters, so that'd be like about out to here is the replenishment zone, I'd wager. The next thing, again, TTK, with all the changes in the last update, use cover. Just always use cover. Move from cover to cover. You see me in a lot of my videos, I shift click like that from cover to cover. You go around. Just, you want to be out in the open the least amount of time as possible and always be building sandbags at the points. These first points, closest to the base aren't that crucial, but as soon as you get out here to these ones that are bordering the middle territory, you want to be putting sandbags there. The next thing I noticed that a lot of people do, in my opinion, a little prematurely, when to get healing is a really tough question to answer in this game. For me, I really only try to get healing after I've gotten my first hard AT counter. So that doesn't mean boys rifle for Brits, and that doesn't really mean Panzerschrecks for Wehrmacht or bazooka squads for USF. That means after you get your first AT gun, AT half-track, Greyhound, let me think, what else is it? Like a hard AT, not something that would zone out an 8-rad or a Humber or a Stuart, something that would directly deal with it. So, and the same thing applies to that. If you're doing one of the buildings, the field infirmaries, try to put that out as far as you can as well. Try to manually do it. I know the micro attacks is frustrating to have to not just double click and let it place wherever, but it benefits you a lot to put it out here. And there's many ways to build healing. The only one I'd say to not wait to get is if you use the bunker with the munitions upgrade through Wehrmacht. Because you just I can't justify spending fuel on healing before I get hard AT out. What's the point of getting this field infirmary if an 8-rad or a Whirlwind's already on the field? They'll push right into my base and I'll be screwed. So that's my thought process there. I really don't like getting healing until after I get a hard AT. In my opinion, for Brits, I never build this. I always build the CMP truck. The reasoning being, this thing doesn't give the free reinforcements. Also, the CMP truck can get vetted. It provides buffs. You can refund it at any point once you get to the final building. So if you for some reason are just struggling and you don't need it, or you think I just need a quick 240 manpower and I think whatever it is, like 20 fuel, you can refund it and then build another one later on. So yeah, and I think you guys will notice if you watch my videos, I tend to I use a lot of those med trucks as crutches for not just Brits, but for Wehrmacht, DAC, and US. I usually build a med truck. Yeah, 240 manpower, 20 fuel. So like, it's not that expensive. The fuel cost is the same as the field infirmary, but it's mobile, it can vet, it can provide buffs, you can refund it. All the other ones, though, DAC, you only have one choice of healing. US, I would usually build those med tents, or if you're doing the Ranger battle group, the Advanced Field Infirmary is the one you can build further up. Wehrmacht is tough because you have like 30 different options for how you can heal. You can go the whole game without spending on healing if you just get like 2 Vet 1 Grens. So there's many options for these factions. I think the only faction that doesn't have free healing is the US. Brits can get free healing from Dingoes, DAC can get free healing from 250s, and Ver can get free healing from their Grenadiers. So remember that too. If you have those units, you may not even need healing. With Brits, again, the Dingo with its free healing, super clutch. I love it. The next thing I wanted to touch on, this isn't a hard set build order. I really don't think, I think the community places way too much of an emphasis on hard build orders. Like you need to have 3 sections and 1 Humber and 1 Bishop and 2 Matildas and 1 this and like, ignore all that. I think you need to have a set start, how you start based off what you're seeing from your opponent. After that, you really gotta be flexible and build to either counter your opponent's build or be proactive. And if you think, oh, they're going to do this, then you're going to go ahead and get X before they do that. So you already have the counter ready. So I wanted to show you guys, these are like my few, like I'd say build start orders or whatever you'd want to call it. It's not a set order, but I only have them for Brits, US, and DAC. I don't play a lot of Wehrmacht, so I can't really confidently give anybody advice on how to start with Wehrmacht. But if you're playing Brits and you're going up against a DAC, I typically would start with 1 section for capping and then 1 Dingo. Why don't I start with the Dingo? Well, the Dingo's really fast, and so I'll start with the sections. They'll come out. They'll mosey up the field, cap point, cap point, cap point. By the time they're to the middle of the field, the Dingo's already built and then way past the middle of the field because it can move so much faster. So I wouldn't keep my units back by building the Dingo first, because then that means the section's going to spawn later and it's going to be capping later, and those are like 30 seconds to 60 seconds that you could already have had a fuel point or manpower point or immunity point capped. From there, I'd get another section, so 2 sections, 1 Dingo, and then it's your choice. If you want to if you're doing Aussies, then I'd get out a 2-pounder, because you could get that before you even go to the tech up again. Then you're kind of set for the beginning of the game now, if you're doing this build. If you're not doing Aussies, obviously you want to tech up as soon as you can. Don't spend fuel on anything else. Try to get a 6-pounder out or a Humber if you have the fuel. So if by the time this building's finished, if you have 30 fuel, get that Humber out immediately, because that will beat a half track or a flak Verling. It'll beat half tracks too. It'll put up a fight against 8-rad if you have maybe a boy's rifle or a 2-pounder out there, but the main focus is getting AT out. So that's kind of when a lot of these builds end, is when you get your first AT out, because after that, again, the build opens up, in my opinion. If you're playing Brits and you're going up against Wehrmacht, expect a lot of team weapons. Expect MG42s, expect mortars. So how do you counter that? With the same thing. You get mortars out, you get an MG out. I'd still start with 1 section. I'd probably go 1 section. If you see an MG42, get a mortar. If you don't see an MG42 and you see a lot of infantry, get a Vickers. Then another section, then the mortar, and then you can top it off with your choice depending on the map. If it's a wide open map, get a 3rd section. If it's a close quarters map, get another Royal Engineer. So you have 2 of those. Royal Engineers are beasts, dude. I love them. I think I lean on them a lot too. So that's the 2 UK Brit builds. That's what I'd recommend. The start. After that, it opens up. Play how you want. For US, if you're going up against a DAC, I would get as quickly as I can 2 riflemen out, and then tech nades. You want to get nades as quick as possible, because they're gonna be throwing dudes in those 250s. They're gonna be running up to you, so you want to be able to snare. From there, you'll probably have enough manpower to get another rifleman squad. Hopefully by the point you have 3 rifleman squads teched with nades, you have enough fuel to maybe tech up to get
those guns ready. Orders just came in.
to the whatever, I can't remember what the building's called, but to get the AT gun for US. If you're running low on fuel and you can't tech up yet, here's where you can get a little bit tricky with it. You can get another engineer out. If you're going armored, you could get a jeep out, make it Vet 1, and use it for capping, or you could use it to drop a mortar or MG. If you do have a lot of fuel somehow, if you're just controlling the fuel early game and you're going like MSC or something, once you tech up and you don't want to get the AT gun, get out a Greyhound. It's at a certain point, it's the same thing, because this will beat an 8-rad, it will beat a Flak Verling, it'll be kind of a whirlwind, it'll take a while. So this can act as hard AT up to a certain point, up to like, the 9-minute, 10-minute mark. You definitely want to get out AT guns though, as US. These things with the armor piercing rounds late game, that's what saves you. A lot of people struggle with US late game for like, how do I deal with heavy tanks, heavy armor? It's this button right here, this little guy.
Get ready to kick some
So that's versus DAC. I would do something similar to this for the start. Versus Wehrmacht, it's going to be kind of similar to how I'd play Brits. You'd get out 2 riflemen, then a mortar, then probably another rifleman, and then from here it opens up again. What is your opponent doing? Do you want to get out commandos? Are you going the Spec Ops battle group? Are you going armored? Then you want to get out a Greyhound. Going Rangers, then you want to start converting your riflemen to Rangers. Alternatively, if you don't want to do the regular mortar, do 2 riflemen and then get out the Weasel with the Pack Howie. I love the Weasel. I love the Pack Howie. I think for 400 manpower, this is a great deal. The Weasel can be upgraded through its veterancy to provide healing. It can provide, I think it's actually, yeah, that's only free healing US can get is through the Weasel, I'm pretty sure. Or we can get the signal layer to do some other fancy stuff. So that's US. That's how I'd kind of have the builds for them. It's mainly rifleman focused because they're so cheap. It's if you don't do rifleman focused, I'd struggle with US without that. Without like just the massive blobs, these guys running all over the field. Maybe not together in a blob, but just overwhelming on, multiple angles, flanking, going around, all that stuff. Moving over to DAC. If you're playing as DAC and you're going up against Brits, I would avoid building any light vehicles. I would avoid building 250s, avoid building flak tracks. I'd build a 250 maybe for healing and that's it, through the call-in or something. Probably the call-ins for the LEIG. Don't do the call-in for the AT gun. Call-in for LEIG. Do the math. It's way cheaper. It's a better deal to do the LEIG. But I would do a team weapons focused build versus Brits when you're playing as DAC. So I'd get 3 Panzer guns out, maybe an MG, definitely get an LEIG, definitely get an AT gun. Otherwise you're going to struggle against Stuarts, against the Humber, and you're going to struggle against their team weapons because they're probably going to have out some team weapons or other things. If you're doing DAC and you're going up against US, I would get out light vehicles. I would try to get as many 250s on the field, upgrade them to the armored car, ASAP. Like, I think the math would be like, maybe I think it's a Panzer Pio and a Grenadier. Yeah, I think it's a Panzer Grenadier, Panzer Pio, 1 250. Then you should be able to have enough fuel to tech up, do the upgrade, so then you can then upgrade this to the autocannon, and then get all the other stuff out. You can get assault guns, you can get flak tracks. But that's what I do, because their light vehicle counters are kind of weak. And if the US player you're going up against doesn't rush out an AT gun, if he relies on Zooks or just the snares, you're going to overwhelm him quickly, because once this has the autocannon on it, or once this comes out, snares are they're not a hard counter anymore. And Zooks are just... that is the worst thing you can do right now is US and get Zooks out. I might get hate for that, but they're 280 manpower. They still stink. They miss. like every shot. I don't know what is going on with them. They just feel really, really bad. So that's my opinion on Zooks and why you've never seen me build one. So that's the like the build start orders, whatever you'd want to call it. I do. Let me know if you guys have any that are different, or if you like this or have something similar that you've been doing. This is just what I tend to have success with. Next, I wanted to just provide a few more pointers on. I had some questions about how do you identify battle groups, or how do you identify like what your opponent is doing. And there's two ways. The first way is the easiest, and it's, what units are they building. So if you're going against US and you see the paradrop M1919, they're going airborne. If you see a Weasel, they're going Spec Ops. If before you even had a fight, before a shot's been fired, you see a Vet 1 Jeep, they've went armored. So those are like the three biggest tells for US on what they're doing. And then what you can expect from there is, you can expect paratroopers from the airborne, you can expect commandos, the infantry loiter, maybe a pack Howie, late game a whiz bang for Spec Ops. You want to prep for heavy armor if you see a Vet 1 Jeep. So, because Easy 8s are coming, or they're going to just mass, Vet 1 Chaffies or something, which you don't see a lot anymore, but you used to see a lot of that. Brits, another, easy tell is Aussies. If you somehow see commandos early, if you see a heavy mortar, they've gone Indian. There's a lot of abilities for UKF. If you see them use like Warcry, that's an early tell. If you see the 2-pounder AT gun, they went Aussie. If you see for armored, it's kind of hard to tell if they've gone armored. There's nothing early game they really can do, unless they've like massed Royal Engineers for some reason. You can assume maybe they did the cheaper upgrade on the armored battle group. But there's not really many other early things you can see that'll give you a tell. Late game, if you see like a Crusader AA tank, if you see Churchills, Black Prince, obviously they went armored. If you see the loiter, they went Air and Sea. If you see the med tent, on a manpower point, you definitely know they went airborne. For DAC, if you see the Bursa, Simavente, or the Caro, they went the Italian one. If you see the Caro, or not the Caro, the L6 or the Gustas, they went the Italian. I can never remember. There's combined arms, and then there's Italian infantry. If you see the beacons or anything camouflaged, or this Funk Panzer wagon, they went the espionage battle group. And you will never see a Flam Panzer in the wild, but if you do, they went armored. The early game abilities, I think, would be like the strafe for this battle group. Can't think of what the early game ability would be for them. Obviously, for espionage, it's all the beacons you can get right off the bat. The camo beacons, or the draining beacon, or the Funk Panzer wagon. So that's the early things you'd see from there. For Wehrmacht, you'd see Luftwaffe. If you see them paradrop it in, you'll see these guys first, and then you'll see these guys. And when you see these guys, you want to run. If you see the coastals, obviously they went coastals. If you see bunkers, you can assume they probably went coastals. If you see a Stummel, a half-track repairing itself at any point, they went the mechanized battle group. And if you see a Westby, you definitely know they went the mechanized battle group. So that's some of the early tells. Abilities, I think, for these guys, they can get an early strafe. All theirs are bunker focused. Mechanized is the self-healing, and then the capping and the smoke upgrade for light vehicles. So it's mostly unit based. You'll see the units more, and that'll give you a tell, and then you can expect late game. And then the last thing I wanted to show you guys, someone else had a question about when to really use call-ins, artillery or strafes or all that stuff. And I'll I'll just do like a mock-up of like an attack on a position. So let's say I'm a Brit and I'm defending this VP, and I got all this stuff here.
Lord, are you with me? Quit whinging.
I got these guys set up,
Orders incoming.
and these guys are coming towards me, and they're coming to like right there. So, if I'm getting attacked, and it's something similar to this, maybe some of the guys are suppressed or not, you want to call it a little bit behind. Because at some point these guys, if the player was good, they're going to hit retreat, and as they retreat, you might be able to get a few more models as they retreat back this way. So, the way I'd look at it is, which way are you being pushed? If you're being pushed this way, if you're being pushed off the point, and let's say you're trying to run away, you're trying to move this way, then I'd do the call in kind of as a deterrent, as a buffer zone. I'd do it kind of where you just were, so that they can't advance any further, and that stops them from going this way. But if you're holding a point, or if you're the one that's winning the fight, and they're, you know, off here or over here, you want to kind of put it behind them, so that it forces them to either stay in the fight with you and take more damage, or retreat and run through the arty strike. Same thing with the strafes and the carpet bombs. You always want to do it. Man, I kind of screwed myself going this battle group. If you have a carpet bomb, though, you want to have it so that it starts farthest away. Because again, if they retreat, they're running into the carpet bomb. I see a lot of people, they'll have the carpet bomb go kind of, and they'll drag it this way so that it starts and the first bombs land here and go this way. You don't want to do that. You want to start pretty much towards their base is where the bombs start landing, and then they fall this way. So that if any unit in this zone retreats, they fall into it. And same thing in reverse. Again, if you're losing the point, if you're getting pushed off and you're retreating this way, do it so that they're running into the bombs. So then you do it so the bombs are falling this way. And I think that goes with everything. Every strafe, every carpet bomb. Loiters are kind of, I would use in the same way I'd use like the off-map airburst, is you'd use them just to cut off a zone entirely. You just want to deny them. And that's what loiters are great for, is aerial denial. You got to respect them in this game because they're like a win now button. But that's really everything I had to talk about. I just wanted to record this quick, get it posted so that people could see just kind of some quick and easy best practices, things that'll help you win. If this does help you, let me know in the comments. If you guys have any ideas, any best practices of your own, let me know. I really enjoy making these videos. It's nice to get the feedback and see that some people like definitely benefit from these. It's always nice to teach someone something new. And don't forget to tow things with your weasels, with your dingoes, with your cat and crads. Towing's fun. Oh, that was one thing. Someone said they always have a problem dropping off things. So for some reason there's an unload button, but unload kind of doesn't work sometimes when you're towing. So I do E. E is drop heavy weapon. So if you're towing something, you want to hit E, and then this little thing pops up, and then you can go be like, drop it over here, and then he'll go do his thing. So that's what I'll leave you guys with. Another hint on how to tow. Towing is crucial in this game. You got to get things back and forth from the front line. But anyways, that's been all. I'll see you guys in the next one. Good luck and have fun out there.